Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Practical Principles. This is Practical Prince. We're doing talk and tarot. Sorry, we're missing music. I guess they're mixing up. It was a experimental feature, so it's understandable. I think we might be able to get some more, but I'll look into that another time. So for now, we'll just get to enjoy the peace and quiet and me monologuing. So, if you find that entertaining, let's get our camera online. Hey, Lavina, doing well. Yourself? No, I need to send out more applications. So, the first round that I did has fallen through, which is okay. So, excellent. Did you want to talk about the Seven of Swords, or did you have a new question? And yes, there we go. Let's get our camera joined as well. Oh, don't need that noise. And we want to see cards much better. Okay. Well, yeah, so the Seven of Swords, I mean, in other decks, the Seven of Swords deals with dishonesty and betrayal, but the emphasis I got out of this one was separation. That you standing in your truth will be conflicting with someone else, maybe other people. Um, so there could be multiple people, but it doesn't necessarily mean um, solitude. Um, I mean, that has this line: "This will isolate you, and you may spend many icy evenings in there. Ask yourself if cutting ties is worth this lonely lifestyle." But that's assuming that you're cutting ties with everyone, and I didn't really get that sense. Like, I don't think you're going to suddenly become a hermit and go off in the wilderness or something. So, I mean, there will still be society, and there will still be parts of society that you'll be able to socialize with, but it's drawing lines with people because you guys can't get to agreement. So that's why I was saying that the focus for the seven was more on separation than on solitude. It's because um, together things weren't working out, too much friction, and so naturally that separation. Okay, if we've beat that enough, then that's good. Oh, I am set up. Okay. I feel like I have more to do, but I guess not. And yeah. Um, let's see. Why is there no movement on that front? Um, or rather, there is movement. There's just a lot of bad choices or bad options that we're passing on. Um, right. Um, Okay. Okay. Um, right. Um, I mean, we could, I mean, sort of why and what to do are related questions. So we might be able to just read on that to try and get an explanation of what's wrong and what to do next. Um, yeah, as far as, because I mean, at the end of the day, you could be doing things right, and there's just this period. Um, I mean, I think I'm fine asking both at once. I just need to sense which cards um, are for what, but that's fine. I'll go ahead and highlight this. Right. Well, and I mean, if you want a relationship that lasts, then yeah, you want someone who's honest. Otherwise, you're not going to have a solid foundation. Um, that's pretty pessimistic. Guess we'll look at this way. Okay. That is, yeah, that is pessimistic. It's understandable that she would think that, but yeah, yeah. Okay. Hey, Luis. It's been a while. I do like that thing. Yeah. Okay. Let me read on that. I'm focusing mostly on the why. Well, I hope so, but I don't want to occupy too much of your time. I'm guessing stuff just got busy. But so for Lavina, I'm focusing on why and if I can get it. I'll also see if we can get a what in here. What to do. I got one card speaking pretty strongly to the why. So we'll just go ahead and show that. The Protector. And again, this is Cosma, so that's a different name than usual. So let me go ahead and drop that. I'm just not sure if there's a second reading as well. Okay, Protector. So this is normally the King of Wands. Perceptive, protective, flowing creativity. When you pull the Protector in a reading, it can be symbolic of an excellent time to take a deeper plunge into your creativity. There is a guarding energy around the projects you are taking on, something bigger than you that knows it's important to see these things through. Allow it to radiate through you and see this as a beneficial time for new ideas to emerge. Trust your intuition to guide you through this state of heightened creativity. I mean, sounds like you need to focus more inward and, well, not necessarily inward, but on yourself. And that could be work or self improvement, whole range of things there. But basically, we're not getting stuff on that front because that would get in the way of this. And this is more important right now. So I don't know how long that'll be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really getting a sense of length, but that probably makes sense given that it'll probably just take some time working on whatever these things are. Yeah. So, I mean, do your best to not worry about this. Um, it's on the back burner right now, cosmically. So, you might want to put it on your own back burner personally for a little bit. Not to say it's unimportant, but something else needs your attention. And I mean, you've already got things you're working on and focusing on. So, Um, I'd just go all in on that for now. Um, and if you want to time box it in a sense, you could set a goal of mastery or something like that, just depending on what you're um, going to dig into. Um, but yeah, for a little while at least, this isn't your focus and it's not what you need to work on or worry about. Yeah, do your best to just set it aside. It is important. So I don't want to say just shelve it for forever. So if you want to set some date or something for when you revisit that, that's fine. Um, but it is not the important thing to worry about right now. All the more reason to take a break, then I would think. Yeah. So go ahead and let your parents know you're going to take a break from this for a little bit and then revisit it when you've got, well, you can tell them better energy, but really it's when you've made progress on this other stuff. And I'm very vague on the other stuff just because I don't know specifically what it is. I know you've got specific stuff um, that you want to work on and develop, but I didn't get a strong sense from the cards of what it was. So, okay, no problem. Okay, and I've got your question. Um, yeah, it feels a bit more like a Destiny deck question. So let me go ahead and set. That's what we want. Set this aside. Pull this out. Okay. You're welcome, Lavina. And yeah, Luis just likes a little more privacy. So, um, so I mean, that feels like it's two separate things, Luis. So, unless you think they're really one thing, I'm inclined to address them separately, as in just separate reads. So, okay. Senan, just give me some time to answer Luis's questions, and then we'll get to yours. Or if you want, you can come back. I'll just do it on the video. Well, you could watch it on the video. Your choice. Okay. We can work through that. Do we have any more cards? Okay, and then these. Sorry, just trying to figure out. Well, if I get to know anything else before flipping. So I read on the. Okay. So a few things. We've got 3 different aspects of what's going on. I get the sense that this is simplified, a read of you two, one for each of you. I don't know which is which. And then we've also got a side note. It's related to the topic, so I don't know if that's advice or next steps, but I mean, it's not exactly answering your question, but it is on topic. So we've got 5 of Pentacles, hardship, isolation. This is usually, I mean, Pentacles is usually material and whatnot, but the idea, the theme of this is rock bottom, hitting a low. 10 of Swords, that's dealing with and the close of a chapter. And then Ace of Swords, success, decisions. We'll read up on that. These two, I think, are pretty self-evident. You'll be able to identify what that's speaking to. For you two, we've got 5 of Wands, competition, debates. This isn't necessarily antagonistic. Debates in and of themselves can be good and productive. And now I'm thinking of Congress, and that is sometimes true. And then for the other, we got judgment. So rebirth, letting go. Those are the keywords there. I'll read up to see if I can get a better feel. But 5 of Wands, yeah, there's that. It's two-sided. There's the competitive side, but then there's also the debate, communicating, working it out. So, yeah, and let me go ahead and flip our side note here. 2 of Cups, love and peace. So yeah, I want to read up on, I'll start with the Ace of Swords, then Judgment, and then 2 of Cups. So let's get this. That's fine, and I can go over it. Because especially after I read up, or sorry, Ace of Swords. After read up, I can connect a little better. But yeah, some stuff you'll just know. So find the 2 and then slide up. Ace of Swords symbolizes truth expressed in the highest form. The sword cuts through deception to reveal a powerful message. This card is auspicious for every aspect of your life. It shows up to let you know that new beginnings are on the horizon. Immediate change is manifesting in your life for the better. There is triumph over your past obstacles. The right hand, the hand of giving, holds up a sword which balances a crown, bringing the message of divine light and everlasting strength. The clouds symbolize confusion, yet the mighty sword cuts through any illusion. It is through your thoughts that you connect to your higher wisdom. So, a very positive counterpoint to the 5 of Pentacles and 10 of Swords. I mean, when you hit rock bottom, there's only one more direction to go. Ace of Swords says you're going to be able to recover pretty well from that. Although this is speaking to what's going on with John. So whether that's speaking more so to him or to you, it could be going either way. But then, yeah, you've also got the juxtaposition of the 10 of Swords with the Ace of Swords. One, the closing of a chapter, the other, the starting of one. Let me get Judgment. Is a card where your past and future come together. You are being called upon to review your decisions and actions to ensure they are in line with where you ultimately need to go. Great changes and opportunities are on the horizon, but before you move forward, certain past issues must be addressed. The Judgment card also predicts a spiritual awakening. As you receive guidance on your path, your confidence and wisdom will grow. This card is a reminder that it is never too late to make a change for the better. Okay. So a bit of a reckoning, but most likely forward progress. And then Two of Cups. And this was the side note. Represents union, harmony, partnership, peace, and love. Perhaps there's a deeper commitment that is occurring in a current relationship, which doesn't sound like it. This is an auspicious card for a creative partnership as well. This can include one that includes writing, art, creative interests, and healing work. The Two of Cups is a card of reconciliation and ongoing negotiations, which will be resolved in your favor. Enjoy the deep love that is coming your way in all aspects of your life. You deserve it. So, yeah, I'm not exactly. Yeah, so I'm not sure what all connects to John, because I could see this going two ways. I mean, there's the Five of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, Judgment. All of those have themes of loss, letting go, end, which could be an end of the relationship. But I don't know that that's guaranteed. You would have to speak to that, especially with the Two of Cups, because with that reconciliation and harmony, you've also got this paired with the Five of Wands, which is about, well, there's the debates. So there would be that ongoing conversation. It'll take time to muck through it, but I mean, you have to have tough conversations. And then you've also got the Ace of Swords for positive new beginnings. So, yeah, drop your question in. But Luis, I just don't exactly know which one connects better. And I don't know whether Judgment is speaking to him or to you. I'm more inclined to think it's him, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Because, so at this point, I'm speculating. Done with the reading. We've talked about the cards. I'm thinking he's more likely Judgment, and that you're more likely the Five of Wands. And that's fine. I'm more inclined to think that you guys work through this, given the Two of Cups being that sort of hint or side note. But yeah, if he then is Judgment, then yeah, he's overcoming some stuff and letting some stuff go. But that's going to make room for a better future. So, and then you had your other question about, well, the other one. Shall I go ahead and read that? Okay. And let me just make sure I've got it right. Yeah, I've got time, although why not just block him, I guess. It's not clear whether you want me to read on why that's happening or what to do about it. Um, I mean, I'd prefer the action in this case, but I mean, the obvious first step in my mind would be a block. So, is there some reason that that doesn't make sense? Okay, so we'll focus on that then. Sorry, I just want to make sure that this is still the right deck. Yeah, that's fine. Prisma would also be a good choice for the insight, but this seems to be the one standing out. Fair point. Fair point. Set that one aside. Yes, we want to show cards at some point. Okay, glad that's back. Okay, give me a little bit. I've got a few people I need to read for. If you want, you can come back later or just watch the video later. We should have enough time to do the reading, though. Are these separate? Okay. So 3 cards. As far as the whys, these seem to be the more superficial reasons, the surface level stuff, and this seems to be the higher, deeper, whichever direction you want to go, reason for it. We've got the Sun. We've got the 9 of Cups. Gosh. Which is interesting. Both of these are, well, happy cards. This is usually joy and abundance, happiness, wishes granted. So, for some reason, it puts a smile on his face. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't realize the negative effect it's having, but yeah, that's superficially what's going on. 9 of Wands. defense and strength. I'm going to have to read up on that, and especially where that's the real underlying reason. Let's make sure we get that one right. There we go. Comes up in a reading to indicate that you are in a strong position. You have fought long and hard to get where you are and have endured heavy challenges, especially in work, but we know the context of your question. There's a balance between being defended and being in defense, which can be exhausting. While you should protect your boundaries, you must not be in a fear mindset. This card is one of great resilience and strength. Use these attributes with a direct willingness to take risks and know that the battle is almost over. Stay optimistic and persevere. Um, yeah, I mean, you know more about the history between you, but it sounds like he's finally reached a. Mm, he's put processes, structures in place that keep him safe in a sense. Um, but I mean, it's overdrive, it's overkill for the current situation. So, and I don't know that he realizes that. So, as far as um, yeah, that's going to be rough. I mean, because you could talk to him about it, ask him to not be so over the top, but at the same time, I mean, there's a history, there's a reason why he's doing it. So I don't know how well received that would be. Um, but I mean, that's probably your best bet. Just be honest and frank about it. Um, yeah, because he's not. Yeah, this doesn't strike me as petty or malicious. So I mean, there's a decent chance he'll respond and try to tone it down. Um, yeah, you'll just have to talk through that. Okay. Um, we had Mirage, we had Presh, but first, Senin. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question at least. Um, and then just time permitting, we'll do what we can. No problem. Take care. Hopefully it gets better. Okay. So Senin. I mean, sometimes I can get a feel for a timeline. I mean, specific dates. Yeah. Specific dates, well, I mean, it's possible, but I've never gotten that specific before. Sometimes, sorry, I got to figure out which deck. And it seems to be the Prisma deck. Let me go ahead and set that up. I mean, sometimes though it's conditional, and it's just, I mean, it'll happen sometimes with relationships where it's like you need to make the move or something like that. So there could be something similar here. Just letting you know. Um, Sorry, I just gotta figure out what the cards represent. Yeah, that's fine, Lavina. I mean, I know what to focus on at the very least. So so we're doing Sinin now. We've got Presh afterwards. And then, gosh, it was Mirage. Mirage? Not exactly sure how to pronounce that. But so you would be fourth, Sinin here being first. And I mean, given our time, I mean, we should almost certainly get to it. So if you just wanted to catch it later, that would be fine too. Sen. So these two are speaking to the win. This one's got a little heavier weight. This one seems to be for clarity to help define the answer. Okay, will do. Three of Pentacles, the Architect, as well as Seven of Chalices. That's interesting. And then we've got 10 of Wands. Okay, good to know. Seven of Chalices I'm going to have to read up on. Well, I'll probably just read all of them anyways, since there's not that many. I mean, the Three of Pentacles has to do with planning. There is an element of success in that as well, but I guess that doesn't want to cooperate today. But yeah, so I'll start with the Three of Pentacles, especially since that had the greater weight. One more. Achievement, hard work, shared goal. After the early stages of a project, there is a surge of pleasure in realizing you've achieved some tangible level of competency. Take pride in your work. Be meticulous and patient, giving credit to the noble endeavor you've chosen to undertake. Likewise, as each brick supports its brother, this is a good time to interlock your plan with other visions. Let other people's input influence your own. This is a great time to build stability and trust. So, I mean, you've been going the right way. it's time to reach out to like-minded people in order to take it a step further. And then 7 of Chalices. This is going to be the interesting one. Deception, dwelling in fantasy, choices. The 7 warns of overindulgence, abusing sensual pleasures not for their own sake, but to distract us from a more pressing matter. By allowing ourselves to be deceived, we deaden ourselves to our problems. It is a way to seclude ourselves from a harsh, embattled world. But dwelling too long in fantasy will leave us vulnerable to very real issues that will not go away if we ignore them. Interesting. I mean, if you're getting a sense of settling, um, that things are on the right track and they're just going to keep chugging along, double check, follow up, follow through. It sounds like you might be taking a back seat when you shouldn't be. You need to be on top of this. Um, and then we've also got the 10 of Wands, which you've run the race and you've reached the end. But then there is, well, next steps. So here, burden, responsibility, commitment. After a harrowing journey, fraught with danger and conflict, you've accomplished what you set out for. But take caution from the furrowed brow of our hero. His hard work has not brought him more happiness, merely more labor. This is the downside of leadership. When you have proven your mettle, you are given freer rein and greater responsibilities. You may be overburdened, eager to shed the weight. Will you carry on in your endeavor, or yield control of it to others? Which is best for you? Yeah. I don't know that we needed this because we got the sense already from the Three of Pentacles and Seven of Chalices. But I mean, because of what you've been doing, the work you've been putting in, you've reached a certain level of competence. And this, I mean, the Seven of Chalices was speaking to letting someone else take over or doing it yourself. The Seven of Chalices warns against that, that you need to stay on top of it. Okay, we'll do, Tina. But so, I mean, as far as the Ten of Wands goes, I mean, my only concern here is that there's a burden associated with it and that it's been wearing on you. So you might need to learn some delegation, but on top of that, follow up in order to make sure things are on track. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what it is. You still need to be very much involved, but you can't do it all. It's too much. So just do your best to stay in touch as much as you reasonably can. But you don't. Yeah, the last thing you want is to exhaust yourself and just have nothing left, basically. Be out of energy and out of hope. So, okay. Let's go on to Presh. And so this one, Presh, if you're around, maybe you can clarify because this is pretty open-ended and pretty vague, which I can still try to do. Sometimes that is the appropriate level of specificity, but it makes me a little hesitant. But I'm a little detail oriented, so that's natural. After Presh, we've got Mirage, then Lavina, and then Tina. So I was just wondering, can we get any more clarity on this question, or is this really the best way you can think of putting it? And I'll go ahead and figure out which deck. Okay. Yeah, this seems to be a Cosmo question. Might have been Lost Forest, but this had a little more. Oh, let's move that. There we go. This had a little more draw to it. And yeah, I guess I'll just see how it comes out. Because I mean, sometimes it's timeline of life. But sometimes you just need to know what the end is. And you can work out the middle. Let's see. A little further. Okay. We have a centerpiece, this tempered pair. So the primary card and then the secondary one moderating it. I mean, that's the center. This detail also seemed relevant, apparently. And detail might be downplaying it. This piece is also relevant. But yeah, so we'll start here. 2 of trees. tempered by the peacemaker. And then the other piece was the bridge. Okay. This would normally be Two of Pentacles. Um, the peacemaker, I'll have to double check. I want to say that's the King of Cups. The bridge is the moon. But as far as how that fits into your destiny, I'm going to have to read up. I mean, normally this deals with deception, illusions. But yeah, there's another meaning, which is what's going to make it appropriate for this. So I'll read up on all of that. So let me set this down. Cosmo. And we'll start with that centerpiece. So Two of Trees, and then that is moderated. But again, Two of Trees first. There we go. Balance, adaptability, partnerships. The adaptability of the two sprouts is something we could all learn from, but this is a many-sided card, for it also speaks to the partnership of the water and the land, without which the sprouts would die. When it shows up in a reading, this card speaks to the importance of work relationships. This card asks us to be adaptable and to compromise when needed in order to strengthen the balance of the collaboration. And it mentioned work specifically, but this is your life. I mean, that's no less important for your personal relationships or even, however you view spiritual or progression along those lines. Relationships there have a balance, a give and a take, and a certain amount of compromise on all of those fronts. And then this is tempered by the peacemaker. So let me pull that up. Yeah, so King of Cups normally. Diplomatic, tolerant, sympathetic. The peacemaker is able to maintain a level head and rebalance nearly any situation. They are neutral in most matters and are often appointed as the mediator. The peacemaker is a card of fairness and unbiased judgment. If it appears you may be finding peace in oppositions, it is a good sign to continue in the direction your heart has been taking you. This card is sympathetic, with bold decision-making, and suggests that balance will be found when your heart and mind are well aligned. So, I mean, there's that advice of being heart and mind in balance, but otherwise, just an elaboration and emphasis of the Two of Trees. That's not just going to be a piece of your life, but a role you play, basically. And I'm sure you can pick to what extent you want to do that. But it's partly in your nature, and so something that will come naturally. Okay, and then the bridge, which would normally be the moon. Unconscious, illusions, intuition. The bridge is a card about illusions. If you pull it in a reading, it can either be a warning that something around you is not what it seems, or it could be a call for you to pay attention to your unconscious self. We all have desires that are not necessarily resting on the surface. Sometimes we are unaware of what we want most in life. The bridge is only a metaphor for this. In time, you will see that it is constructed of only your own illusions. Yeah. So, I don't know that this is so much an active piece of the destiny. With the two of trees and the peacemaker, there's a tendency that there's logical arguments and we should be able to weigh pros and cons and pick an optimal decision. The sense I'm getting from the bridge is that sometimes it's, well, the cosmic values underneath that you'll be leaning on, that you can sense with your intuition, that will help guide your way. And sometimes only in retrospect will you realize how much you were leaning on it. Um, and so, in that regard, yeah, again, I don't think that's something you need to worry about too actively. The closest we really get is the peacemaker and the advice of keeping the heart and mind in line. So, if that's drawing you, then by all means, there is a balancing, and you'll naturally be able to balance. And from the two of trees, the word would be adapt. So, things will sort themselves out as you go down that path. Um, it's not That's not necessarily the end. I don't know that that's going to be the only path you'll follow and continue to follow, but if that's the one you're treading now, by all means, that would be good. Um, yeah, yeah, because yeah, and that speaks partly to the peacemaker, heart and mind. So if you can make more sense of it, great. Um, but if you can't, and if you've still got that strong inclination, then yeah, I would trust that. Yeah. Okay. Um, Goddessu or goddessu. Um, no problem. Yeah, go ahead and drop your question in. Um, we'll probably be able to get to it. I need to do a few readings before you, but we should have enough time. So that was Presh. Where was Mirage? Okay. So we've got Mirage. We've got Lavina after that. Then Tina. Um, and then Goddess General. Okay, perfect. So you would be fourth at this point? Yeah. Why is she stressed? What is she thinking? Um, yeah, it looks like we're using the Lost Forest for this. Usually this is better for self-introspection. I tend towards Prisma for insight into other people, but this is the one that seems to have the favor for this. Why and what is she thinking? Those could be closely related. They might not be. We'll just see if and what we can get on it. Because she might not realize why she's stressed. So her thoughts might be elsewhere. That would be thoughts. And that would be okay. The reason. Doo-doo-doo. Sorry, cable just won't stay put. So 2 cards, one for each part of the answer. So this is what she's thinking. Sorry, I think that was shaking. And this, the reason for the stress. So the Faceless, I want to read up on that. That's unique to this deck. And then the Mystic. So her intuition, subconscious. I mean, this is going to be stuff under the surface. I'm not sure how in tune she is with that. Let me go ahead and set this down. Pull out the guide. Because Faceless can give us an idea of her thoughts. There we go. So Faceless, more than meets the eye, sudden opportunities. So, I mean, I don't know what she's evaluating, what options or choices or paths. But she's having trouble sorting them out, evaluating them. And it's consuming her, which is what you've seen. And then the reason why for the stress, the Mystic, hidden knowledge, intuition, the subconscious. Yeah, so I mean, there's, what would that be called? Psychological dissonance, something along those lines. Her intuition, her deeper understanding, understands a particular truth, but her head is seeing it a different way. And so that conflict, well, that's causing a lot of this disharmony. And it's probably why she's not able to evaluate stuff properly. Because she's trying to use one set of values she knows, but then there's the other set of values that she has. So, gosh. I mean, the natural follow-up question would be what to do about it. I mean, I don't know the nature of your relationship. If you can help her pump the brakes, help talk her through some of this stuff that she's worrying about, and not just come to logical conclusions, we'll also need to ask her how she feels about these things. Because her head, like we said, can come up with one answer, but her heart, her intuition is coming up with another. And so some stuff might seem right and feel wrong. And that's something, I mean, once we can talk about that, once we can bring that to the front and get her to focus on that, she might be able to work through that. But that's the best we can do as far as bringing it to her attention. The rest is on her to work through it. So that was Mirage. I believe it's Lavina now. I should probably just keep a list or something. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's the where it comes from and what to do about it. But yeah, I mean, just like the others where there's kind of two aspects we could be keying in on, we'll just see what comes from the cards. And that's fine. I want to use the Lost Forest more. What is that? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And really, your concern is with next steps, what to do. But if we need understanding on the source, we're open to getting that insight too. Let me set that aside. Yeah, go ahead. There's other people I need to read for, but assuming we have time, we should be able to. It's okay, we can throw you on the fringe. Okay. Well, we can sort that out if needed. It's just interesting your question asking about the job, but then the motivation is to move. So, I mean, we can We can ask that question. It's just, yeah. I don't know if there's a better way of phrasing it. But anyways, back to Lovena's. Okay, I know about those. But then here, okay, that seems fine. What about you? Oh, you're fine. I guess I assumed move was like moving to a new place, like your home moving, but I suppose that could just be moving within the workforce or something like that. So, okay, we're good. And your English is fine. It's just naturally somewhat ambiguous. Is this just a lighter weight? Or do I have it backwards? Okay, that's better. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just working through your spread. Now I just got to figure out this one. Excellent timing. All good. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So a number of things. Let's see if we can catch them. Oh, I'm in the way. These are speaking to the Y. These are pretty fringe, so we'll just skim over those. Those aren't as important. This had the most weight. This a moderate amount. They're both tempered pairs. We've also got this card down here, which felt like a note. So given that these are Ys, I'm guessing this is advice on how to proceed, what to do next. So before the phone decides to refresh, let's go ahead and flip. 7 of skies, betrayal and deception. 7 of oceans, fiction, fantasy, sorting that out. And the devil, temptation, addictions. Moderately, 10 of earth, tempered by 4 of earth. I don't know if you can see 10 flowers and then the 4 acorns. He's got one. And over here, the bigger thing, the chariot and the wheel of fortune, both major arcana. So that makes sense. And then down here for this one, we've got King of Oceans. Okay. So a lot of this makes sense. Let me, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know that I want to go over those any more than I already have. Because I mean, these are the bigger sources, the bigger reasons. And for these, I might want to read. I mean, Ten of Earth, there's the prosperity and security, but this is tempered by what's essentially the greed card. So you might be. Is that just a conflict between what you want and what you have? Yeah. So, I mean, this is the best way to deal with that would be expectations, just being more realistic and accepting that things might not be as good as you want them to be. Um, yeah, that's really all there is to say there. I think for these other three, I want to read them. This guide's only got keywords, but yeah. Let me set this down. Because I mean, it's understandable, like why the Seven of Skies or Seven of Oceans could lead to anger. I mean, those are naturally frustrating things. So, um, and the Devil, but the ones with the more weight. So the Chariot, action, control, willpower, success. This tempered by Wheel of Fortune, life cycles, destiny, a turning point. Interesting. I mean, this might be similar to the Earth. I mean, with the Chariot, um, the action and control, it's very active and, well, very progressive. It's very forward, um, almost in a rush, really. Um, but being tempered by the Wheel of Fortune, where these things are out of your control, that these just happen. Um, and I guess the conflict would be the timing, the one just trying to go at its own speed relatively fast, and the wheel turning on its own speed in its own timeline and time frame. Okay. So yeah, that's naturally a source of friction. Okay. Let's go to the King of Oceans, advising us what to do. Emotional balance, compassion, diplomacy. Um, so there's a natural conflict, tension between wanting stuff to happen now, the Chariot, and being active about it, versus things needing to take their own time and happen, the Wheel of Fortune. So just, yeah, a conflict in timelines, the timeline you want versus the timeline, in some cases, that you get. So, like, I mean, we talked about the marriage stuff earlier. That could be one example where there's the I want it to happen and I've been trying to make it happen now versus this is not the time for that. So move along. We'll get there when we get there, sort of thing. So, yeah. And that's not to say that like the chariot is a bad thing or that 10 of earth is undesirable. I mean, those are good cards. And even the wheel of fortune is auspicious. Uh, but yeah, some things are out of your control. That needs to be accepted. Um, which doesn't mean you should do nothing. The chariot's great for getting some stuff done, but not everything. Yeah, not everything's in control. Okay. But yeah, King of Oceans. Gosh, let me read that again. Hey, Tina. I think you should be next if I remember right. But yeah, emotional balance, compassion, diplomacy. Which obviously not the best advice when you're saying you're struggling with it and want to know how. Um, so I guess emotional balance might not be the focus for that as far as next steps. So compassion and diplomacy. Um, talking, but also listening, really understanding the other person. And then compassion. I mean, if you don't have a practice or regularly scheduled charity, then that might be, or work service, um, that might be something to get on your calendar. And yeah, that might tilt you towards that direction, being able to moderate a bit better. Yeah, I don't know that that was very definitive, but that's the direction we're trying to go. So, I mean, and when you've got the chariot, you'll be trying different things to make that happen. So I guess I'm not too concerned about the how of the King of Oceans, but um, yeah, there might be some trial and error in there, but that's fine. That's natural. So okay. Um, hey Jackie. Let me go over who I've got. There's Tina. I'm pretty sure she's now. So let me go ahead and highlight that. Future and guidance. Okay. So after Tina, we've got Godesu. We've got Andre. No problem. And then Jackie, we would be able to get to you, possibly. I mean, we are cutting it close. So go ahead and um, drop your question in. I'm just not exactly sure if I'll be able to answer it. So we'll just go as fast as we can. For future and guidance for Tina, who has been patiently waiting. Okay. Is this Cosma or Prisma? I would normally associate it with Cosma, but Prisma wins today. Future and guidance. I'm going to assume relatively near future if you're going to ask for guidance as well. So, not that we'll get both, but and I guess the guidance could be very present. Once more. Okay. Do we have something here? Is there more or isn't there? Okay, let me figure out how these are connecting. Okay, interesting. Which one are you? Sorry, I just need to figure out which way this pair goes. Okay. So we've got, normally I would have tempered pairs, but these seem to be guidance event pairs going on. So we've got this event theme or whatever with the corresponding guidance behind it. And then these are both, gosh dang it. The other ones have the guidance first. And then the one on the right, I get the sense has multiple events. So it'll almost be like practicing the guidance. The one in the middle, it's more offset. That's because the event is only somewhat connected. Definitely a way to practice the guidance, but yeah. Okay, well, we'll let this refresh so that we can show. And maybe it'll just take forever regardless. I don't want to hold this up too much. Waiting for it. We might have to. Okay, there we go. And then get our camera back on the cards. Huzzah. Okay. Let's do this while we've got it. And make that big. So, event, 8 of Wands, and guidance, 9 of Swords. Makes sense. I'll have to read up to make sure I get that right. The guidance here was not to be the character, just about to be eaten. Don't be paralyzed. The guidance, 6 of Wands, and then the event it'll touch on, the Empress. Okay, and then over here, the guidance, 2 of Chalices with the series of events, 4 of Wands. I mean, 2 of Chalices is a very social card. Being honest about who you are, true to you, and showing that to others. But yeah, the rest, just make sure I get it right. I'll want to read. So let me set this down. And now we've seen them at least. I'll need to work on a solution for that. I'll switch it around. But anyways, Prisma. So let's start with that 8 of Wands event. Forward movement, finish line, final push. You may be tired, but there's no stopping now. Nearing the finish line is no time to slow down. Your situation demands one final burst of energy to propel you into victory. Show hustle, don't hesitate. You're nearly there. So, I don't know the specifics. The first thing that comes to mind would be like a deadline at work. And it just needs extra time. It's not necessarily going to be work, but this is tempered by 9 of Swords, fear, vulnerability, paralysis. A cruel card, the Nine of Swords, depicts fear so great it leaves the martyr numb to the onslaught of forthcoming pain. Fear cripples any riposte, leaving him vulnerable to a swift destruction. But take heed from his paralysis. Though the situation is grave, it is his passivity that ensures his ruin. If you find yourself overwhelmed by hopelessness and despair, don't respond like this hapless figure. Face your fears with valor and dignity, trusting that your enemy will be overcome. So, yeah. That final push, that last burst, it may be the thing you don't want to do, but this is saying, yeah, you definitely need to push through, push on, do whatever it takes, but don't stand still. Don't be paralyzed like that guy. Okay, let's go on to the Six of Wands guidance. Small victory, self-confidence, appreciation. Fighting for your vision can be a worthy but exhausting endeavor. If you don't take the time to appreciate how far you've come, you may very well burn out before you reach the final culmination of your vision. As you inexorably float toward the next set of difficulties, pause in the present moment and take in all the beauty around you. You have accomplished much, and you have been granted a brief view of the Elysium that awaits you at the end of your journey. So, yeah, I mean, take breaks. Don't forget all the things you do, because you do them. You do all of them. In a sense, you're more powerful than you give yourself credit for. The event this touches on is the Empress. Nurturing, giving, connection with Earth. A subtle ruler, the Empress. Caught so often in the gray trivialities of our existence, we forget their inherent inauthenticity. The minutiae we build up around ourselves, our jobs, our status, our wealth. None of it is truly vital to our existence. All we need to survive is the bounty already provided to us by Mother Nature. Connect back to it, revel in it, take joy in the most basic pleasure, that of being alive. If you do, then yeah, you're already on point. It feels like the Empress is really just the follow through of the Six of Wands and taking those breaks. So we're good there. Two of Chalices, which we already talked about, but for consistency. Shared connection, partnership, receptive. By mixing freely with each other, sharing of ourselves without reservation, we allow people to see our true nature. Let your inner beauty course out, inspiring others to do the same. Be welcoming, receptive, and genuinely grateful for others' presence in your life. They will meld and merge with your aura and create something vivacious and free. So, being true and being with people. And then the event, Four of Wands. And really, this felt like a series of events. Celebration, peace, family. This card is the first milestone in the journey of the Wands. Everything is coming together nicely, and while things are supporting themselves, take this time to enjoy the success of what you have wrought so far. This is a time of great peace and contentment. It may include family or a landmark in your life celebrated by ceremony. At the very core, it is happiness, one of those rare times when life is going your way and you're aware enough to appreciate it. So similar to the other one, that's just a natural consequence of being with those people. And assuming you're true to you, which I'm pretty sure you are, that's not going to be an issue either. So really, the only concerning thing is the Eight of Wands, that big push, and just don't let yourself get paralyzed. So, yeah. Any questions, Tina? No problem. Gosh, I want to say Godesu is next. Oh no, we've got Andre in here. Let me check. So yeah, Godesu, general reading. Let's highlight that. Andre about the job would be next. Jackie didn't ask their question, but yeah, we're basically out of time. So we'll just do Godesu and Andre. Okay. General reading. Godesu. Is it Prisma, I think? Hey, Cornelia. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, looks like we're using the Prisma deck again. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, let me just focus. General reading. Goodness. It usually could. Which is unfortunate, but an ever-present fact. We're almost out of time for today, but I've only got one more read after this, so give it a couple of minutes. I should be able to say yes or no one way or the other. And if not, I mean, I've got streams on Wednesday and Friday as well. You can probably catch one of those. No problem. Was there one? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'll just have to sense as it comes. So 5 different aspects. This is a tempered pair. So we've got the primary one with the secondary one backing it. This is moderating it in some way. So just to get that, 6 of chalices, tempered by Queen of Swords. We'll double check, but 6 of chalices, there's a renewal that you need to undertake. Being tempered by the Queen of Swords. Yeah, I'll have to read the pair together to make sure I get that right. I mean, she's intelligent and can, well, conquer her beast. But as to how that would moderate this, I'll have to double check. Over here, we've got King of Swords. I don't get that often. 7 of Swords. A lot of swords. Wheel of Fortune. Auspicious, but requiring change, which some people don't want. And then up there, we've got Page of Swords. So you almost got that whole royal flush. AV, I'm going to be out of time before I can get to you. So I've got streams Wednesday and Friday if you want to follow on those. But I'm not going to have the time today. Just given that you got so many swords, I'm just going to read through Page King, and then let's get back. Let's get back to the Queen. So the Page of Swords, sharp mind, new strategy, clear direction. The eager youth of the page, combined with the penetrating intelligence of her suit, makes her a formidable defender against false realities. Be vigilant, wary, and free from emotional pall so that you may discern the best course of action. You have within you the power and means to chop through duplicity. Frankness, honesty, and justice will serve you well. So, I mean, that's going to be great. And especially where you've got 6 of chalices, there's definitely going to be that renewal anyways. Let's go ahead and read how the Queen of Swords tempers that. Intelligence, truth, mental clarity. When you see the Queen in a reading, it is time to rein in your demons. You no longer have the excuse of inexperience, ignorance, or even fear. Use your immense intelligence and love of truth to conquer what plagues you. When you do, you'll be able to access matters of the heart with cool mental clarity and grace. Gosh, that's moderating the 6 of chalices, and I am so tempted to read that right now, so let me go ahead and do that. Renewal, revisiting past memories, vibrancy. The world can be harsh and unforgiving, and it's easy to let the sorrow and grime of daily living dull the vibrant shine of your existence. But the river that flows through the 6 of chalices offers a chance to buff it clean. Renew yourself. Break the cycles of suffering by pursuing the simple, innocent values of childhood. Share, work together, be kind to others. Immerse yourself. Forget your cares and rejuvenate. And then that was tempered by the Queen. Interesting. I mean, it seems like you would be coming to. I mean, there's the 6 of chalices, the cleansing, but it almost seems like the Queen would suggest you're overcoming, or at least planning to overcome, some past demons in your childhood. There's good stuff back there, but it seems like there might also be a few lingering boogeymen. So, yeah, and I mean, you're smart. You've got the page. And I'm sure the king's going to send this further. You'll be able to handle that. Okay, glad we got that figured out. King of Swords, clarity of purpose, realistic expectation, ingenuity. It takes a great man not just to fight evil, but to subsume it, divert it, and use it for good. Such an immense task calls for impeccable character and keen clarity of purpose. Realism and ingenuity are your greatest weapons when faced with a mighty foe. Do not let good sense become clouded with emotions. Face the facts with cold stoicism and find the best way to proceed. The answer may be simpler than you think. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is just going to be straightforward tackling it, using your head for the most part. Let's get the Seven of Swords, though. Cutting ties, speaking your mind, deception. Sometimes it's best to cut your losses. Words may remain unspoken, but the feelings that drive them will not be dispelled. Eventually, your true thoughts will become clear, and you don't necessarily need to be around when this takes place. This will isolate you, and you may spend many icy evenings in the wilderness, enduring a bleak existence. Ask yourself if cutting ties is worth this lonely lifestyle. You have a right to speak your mind. When you are forthcoming and strong, you will never need to cloak your true feelings. Interesting. Yeah. And this is almost certainly going to be happening while working through the Six of Chalices, Queen of Swords combo. Whether you have to, well, cut with the past on some stuff, or maybe cut with people if it's still present. And now the only other one, Wheel of Fortune. Chance, change, destiny. Constantly vying for power may seem like a futile pursuit, but it is in fact a simple, blessed characteristic of life that it is never at a standstill. The Wheel of Fortune shows the perpetual shifting in the balance of powers. Manifested infinitely within every aspect of your life. At any given time, you will be the champion, be the contender, believe you are the champion, or have no reign at all, quickly hurtling yourself into the fray. This card suggests a change is coming. The old king is dead. Someone or something will rise up in its stead. I feel that's double-sided. I mean, that can clearly speak to what we've already discussed with the Six of Chalices, Queen of Swords combo, and what you're overcoming there. But I feel it's also going to speak to something else as well. And you'll have to be the one to judge for yourself what that is. I don't know if you see that coming or not. There's a good chance you will, but... Okay. Let me check time and then... yeah, Cornelia, let's plan on doing it during one of the other streams, if that works for you. I mean, we're just already running over time, and I still have Andre, so... and if, I mean, check those times, because they're different on Wednesday and Friday. If you want, and just let me know. I could do the reading without you present, and you could just watch the video later, if that works. Or, I mean, you could also DM me and I can just try to do it when I have time. But it would be better if we could, well, do our readings on the streams. Okay. And like I said, if not, we can try a few other things to work that out. Andre. But basically, new job. Yeah. Okay. This is almost certainly going to end up as a yes-no spread. We might get some extra information though. Let me just go ahead and share this. So 3 cards, and then the combination of them will indicate yes, no, or somewhere in between. We're going to go ahead and use the Prisma deck, even though this is the Destiny deck guide. And that's fine. And if we've got extra information, I'll let you know. Sorry, I just need to find the last card. Possibly cards. Sometimes I'll get a tempered pair, but speaking of, yeah, I think I just got one, but okay, and then to figure out what's the primary. It'll be fine that way, and then okay. So we've got our yes, no, but then the cards are also going to speak to it, all of them. But they have more weight to less weight, left to right. So, and this is the tempered pair. So the primary one, and this is the one we'll use for the yes, no, moderated by this, which is just for the answers. 5 of Wands tempered by 7 of Swords, Ace of Chalices, and then Tiny Elephants. That's a yes. Ace of Chalices should be a yes. It's just the Wands, 5 of Wands. Okay. The 5 of Wands is one of the few exceptions in the deck. It trumps the combo in some sense. saying the answer is yes, but you must fight for it. Um, which makes sense that the others are also yeses. But then let's speak to the others because we've got extra information. So we've got some clarity. Five of Wands. Yeah. So this is, well, sometimes competition, sometimes debate. Um, yeah. So that's going to be a big part of it. This is tempered by Seven of Swords. So I'm pretty sure the advice here is to just know when you need to separate yourself, basically. Take some time, get some distance, because it's unproductive or even harmful to continue the discussion, the debate, the contest, however you want to think about it. I'm not exactly sure how that'll manifest, but that's going to be a big part of the next job. Um, Ace of Chalices. I mean, that's promising for new beginnings. Tiny Elephants is unique to that deck, so I want to read that anyways. Let me go ahead and set this down. But again, this was the heavier weight, lighter, and then lightest. So I'll make these small. And let's pull out that book. Um, Ace of Chalices. Skip too far. There we go. New emotion, intimate connection, love. When the Ace of Chalices presents itself, some deep wellspring of emotional forces bubbling up inside you or around you. It promises the beginnings of an intimate connection, guided by the heart. Open yourself to love and compassion. Draw deep feelings to the surface and let them shine. So, I mean, following your intuition, basically, your heart, follow your heart. Um, as you're proceeding forth, trying to get the new job, get the new opening, make the move. Yeah. And then, so it makes sense that you would then have the Seven of Swords on the previous one, because sometimes it's hard to vocalize and make explicit some of that stuff. So that's guiding you. But Tiny Elephants, which is unique to this deck. Perspective, renewed wonder, inverted expectations. When you pull Tiny Elephants in a reading, it asks you to acknowledge the perspective of your situation. Pay attention to the things around you. If your perspective feels like it has grown tired, then get on the floor, stand on a chair. Find a new way of looking. You will be surprised how fresh something old can feel when you look at it differently. There is wonder in small things, and there is beauty in understanding another's point of view. And again, this was the lightest card of the lot. Um, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but being open and active in trying to see things from a different perspective, from someone else's perspective, perhaps. So, yeah. Yeah, that's what we got on that. So, again, thanks for hopping on, Cornelia, AV, and anybody else who didn't get to ask your question. This is our schedule, relatively new. This was the Monday stream, so there's also Wednesday and Friday, 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. respectively, at least MST. So convert to your time zone as appropriate. And I mean, this will continue for the time being. I am looking for a job, but haven't locked one down yet. So for now, we can keep this schedule. And yeah, take care. Um, do well. Yeah, and until next time.